Okay. We are going to call the Town of Rome Plan Commission public hearing and regular meeting to order for Tuesday, April 9th, 2024 at 4 o'clock. Oh, I'm sorry, at 4:04 p.m. Item number 2 is a roll call, starting on my right, please.
Tom Gabriel.
Janzak here.
Baker.
Dilge here.
Jamadi here.
Bill Capel.
Commissioner Wiesinger may be here. He had some kind of a medical thing to deal with his wife, so he may be here coming in late, or he might not show up at all. Also present are Taylor Ochinsky, who is our support specialist, Nick Flanagan, who is the town attorney. Item number 3 is to certify the posting of the meeting. Nick or Taylor?
I certify that on Tuesday, April 2nd, 2024, the agenda for the Town of Rome Plan Commission meeting for Thursday, April 9th, 2024 was posted at the following locations. Rome Town Hall at 12:45 p.m., Quick Trip LLC, 12:30 p.m., Nakusa Port Edwards State Bank at 12:35 p.m., posted on the Town of Rome website on 4/2/2024, emailed to the Wisconsin Rapids Tribune on 4/2/2024, and that the legal notice was published in the Wisconsin Rapids Tribune on 3/26/2024 and 4/2/2024.
Thank you. Item number 4 is to approve the agenda. Is there a motion?
Move approval of the agenda as written.
Motion by Bill, second by Tom to approve the agenda as presented. Any other discussion? Hearing none, then all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Item number 5 is the citizen comment portion of the agenda. During the citizen comment period of the agenda, the Plan Commission welcomes comments from any town resident, not a member of the commission, on any item not on the agenda. Please note that pursuant to state law, the commission cannot engage in conversation with you but may ask questions. The commission may refer the item to to staff, a standing committee, or a future Plan Commission agenda for discussion and action. Each person wishing to speak will have up to 3 minutes to speak. Speakers are asked to submit a card to the chair providing their name, address, and topic for discussion. And 5A, the commission will also take comment from the public on an agenda item as called by the chair, but not during the citizen comment portion. Please note that once the commission begins discussion on an agenda item, no further comment will be allowed from the public on that issue. I have one request here from Jerry Iverson. Jerry, which is it item C on the agenda that you wish to speak with?
It's not on the agenda, Mike.
Okay, then it's your turn, Jerry. Please come up. Jerry Iverson, 1711 Archer Lane, Unit Number 9, Nakusa, 54457. And he's looking to speak regarding parking at Barnum Bay area.
Do I need to repeat my address?
No, I think that...
Good.
Just
Okay.
sign in there for speaking, up there.
Is that microphone turned on?
It is. In reference to the event tent that's now erected over by the Lure, my concern is once events start being conducted and with the overflow parking from the campground coming into the parking lot at the Lure itself, I feel that there is the potential to exceed the capacity of that parking lot. Once that capacity is exceeded, those cars attending those events are now going to overflow onto Archer Lane and or Barnum Bay Trail. A couple concerns that I have with that is, one, safety, especially if there is a need for emergency vehicles that have to ingress into that area and then egress out of that area. It is also a safety issue for people that use that area for walking, riding bikes, and when you have an increased traffic flow and people parking on the sides of the road, it reduces the roadway itself. My third issue or concern is the noise. When you have music concerts and things of that, they're generally at night. We have residences along Archer Lane and Barnum Bay Trail, and they now are going to be subjected to the noise and the commotion that comes along with people parking their cars along those roadways. And I'm asking the Plan Commission to take this under consideration, look at it for its value, and then determine what needs to be done along Archer Lane and Barnum Bay Trail.
Thank you. So I'm assuming then that the rest of the folks in the audience, if they wish to speak, are gonna speak regarding any items that are on the agenda. I pure so. Okay, then we're gonna move on to the next section, which is no action contemplated except possible referral to a future agenda. Item number 6 is information updates, recent correspondence, current events, and announcements. Does anybody have anything? Bill?
No.
Lori? Diana?
I do.
Go ahead.
Well, first of all, I would like to congratulate Mr. Baker for his re-election as county supervisor. Secondly, I'd like to announce tonight is his last night as being chair of the Plan Commission, and I would like to congratulate you and thank you so much for all your years of service.
Thank you so much.
And those are my announcements.
Okay. Paul? Nothing. Tom?
Nothing.
Okay. Then we're gonna move on to item number 7, which is to open the public hearing. 7A, consideration of a site plan of operation for Kent Schneider, KMC Tux LLC, doing business as Cal's Corner, to construct a seating area / addition at 382 State Road 13, also described as Lot 76 of Canterbury Addition to Lake Sherwood, located in the southwest 1/4, southeast 1/4, section 17, town 20 north, range 6 east, town of Rome, Adams County, Wisconsin, parcel number of 030-1951. Nick?
Thank you. Applicant Ken Schneider, KMC Tux LLC, doing business as Cal's Corner, requests approval of a site plan of operation for the property located at 382 State Road 13. Applicant purchased the former Fire Tux establishment in 2022. Because it was a continuation of existing development with no expansion, a new site plan of operation was not required at that time. Applicant is now proposing an expansion of the business to construct a seating area addition to the west of the building. Note that due to the setback requirement or measurement area off the platted corner of State Highway 13 Vision Triangle at the intersection of West Queensway and State Highway 13, a variance to reduce the side yard setback was required to construct the proposed addition. That Board of Zoning Appeals approved the area variance at its meeting on March 14th, 2024. Included in your packet materials is a site plan, a plan of operation application, checklist, associated renderings and maps. Letters were sent to 10 property owners within 200 feet of the affected property.
Thank you. Mr. Schneider, you wanna come up to the podium?
Yes, sir.
Good evening. Good evening. Just fill us in. What you gonna do?
I'm planning on, most of the reason I'm doing this for the winter time. I'm planning on expanding west and south. It's in the plans there. It's not as big as everybody thinks. It will provide additional seating in the summertime. In the wintertime, we can have small indoor 2-man bands, the dreaded karaoke, stuff like that. And then pool tables and dartboards on the south side. I don't like karaoke, but my customers do. They want it, so I'm trying to provide it for them.
Okay. So your new addition will cover your concrete patio place that you have now and come out a little bit further to the west?
Correct,
Is
yeah.
that the way I
So
see
that-
it on the plans?
Yep, the patio will be gone. New foundation will be poured.
And then the game room addition to the south?
Correct.
Okay,
So those are both on,
yes.
both of them are,
Yeah, they're both on the plan.
okay.
Okay. Questions for Mr. Schneider? Anyone? Hearing nothing, then is there anybody in the audience that would like to speak for or against Mr. Schneider's site plan of operation for an addition to his current building? Okay, then thank you, and just have a seat and wait till we call you again.
All right, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
7B, Consideration of proposed zoning map amendment from R4 Rural Residence District to R2 1 and 2 Family and Manufactured Dwelling Residence District relating to a .5 acre portion of land in parcel number 030-747-10, also described as Lot 1, CSM 1729, located in the southwest 1/4, southwest 1/4, section 12, town 20 north, range 6 east, town of Rome, Adams County, Wisconsin.
Applicants Brian Charette and Tanya Johnson are requesting an amendment in zoning from R4 Rural Residence District to R2 1 and 2 Family and Manufactured Dwelling Residence District for a portion of parcel 30-747-10. Currently, parcel 30-747-10 is a 23.29 acre parcel in size and zoned R4. The parcel has an approximately half acre section located in the southwest quarter of section 12, with the remainder of the parcel within the northwest quarter of section 13. Applicants own parcel 30-15-20-10. Currently, it's 1 acre in size and located directly to the north of the subject parcel in section 12. Applicants are in the process of purchasing a half acre portion of 30-747-10 and wish to combine it with that 1 acre lot to create a 1.5 acre parcel. A proposed CSM is attached in your package showing the proposed land division combination. Since the creation of a split zoning condition is not permissible, there needs to be a rezoning of that 0.5 acre parcel to create a common zoning with the 1 acre parcel's R2 zoning. Note that the comprehensive plan's future land use map, which is included in your packet, for that 23.29 acre parcel has actually 2 different designations in that one parcel. The portion that's in section 12 under consideration is noted as residential. The remaining portion in section 13 is forestry. Therefore, the rezoning of the 0.5 acre portion would be consistent with the comprehensive plan's future land use map. Letters were sent to 7 property owners within 200 feet of the affected property. Also included in your packet is consent from the current property owner of 30-747-10 to rezone that 0.5 acre portion of the parcel.
Okay, thank you. Is Brian or Tanya here? Okay. Is there anybody then in the audience that wishes to speak for or against this zoning map amendment? Okay. Then I guess we'll move on. 7C, consideration of proposed amendment to chapter 360 zoning, article 3, general regulations 360-10, accessory uses and structures regarding canopies. Nick?
Recently, concerns have been raised about related to event tent canopy usage by local businesses and applicability to the Town of Rome zoning code regulations, specifically under 360-10D. In February of 2023, the Town of Rome updated 360-10D after consideration and a recommendation from the Joint Plan Commission CDA Subcommittee as it related to accessory structures in residential districts. At that time, the focus was to clarify certain accessory structures commonly seen in residential districts, such as gazebos and pergolas, which were not specifically noted as permitted prior to the construction of the principal structure. Additionally, the subcommittee had reviewed carport regulations, and I just note that the canopy definition at that time had included quote-unquote ports. Included in your packet are relevant minutes from those meetings. I would just make one note. I failed to highlight everything in one of those minutes. Just look at the Plan Commission minutes and just note that I intended to highlight the rest of that as well. At that time, with a focus on residential districts, section 360-10D3B was removed with the intention that its applicability to residential districts and permanent canopy tents as well as carports. Since that time, no enforcement action had been taken on BU1 properties who had erected event tent canopy structures on a more permanent basis, because the zoning administrator at that time had understood those regulations not to apply to businesses' uses, provided placement was consistent with setbacks and applicable regulations such as noise and event gathering requirements that were met. Since that time, as complaints were submitted, the town no longer had references to allowed permanent canopy tents and therefore applied the temporary requirements under 360-10D1. Since the February 2023 amendment to the aforementioned zoning code, provisions clearly were intended to address residential districts. The recommended consideration is to build the removed verbiage back into the ordinance and specify its applicability to commercial use in B1 districts. Proposed language is included in your packet. Please note that after consultation with the building inspector, it was recommended to require canopies with a floor area greater than 120 square feet obtain a building permit. That recommendation comes from the IBC, International Building Code, section 105.2, which lists work exempt from a permit as accessory structures not greater than 120 square feet. This would be an alternative to the reference that was in that ordinance before it was removed, saying that rigid material roof construction would require the issuance of a building permit. Additionally, recommended language would reference applicability to Town Code 191-13, which is safe practices with large crowd assemblies. Finally, for clarity, it's recommended to update the zoning ordinance definitions to reference tent applicability to canopy definitions, which are already broadly describes event tents.
Thank you. We, is there anyone here that would like to speak for the proposed changes to the B1 district as far as the tent canopies go? Sir, come on up.
I just would like to note that there wasn't.
I'm gonna read that one.
Okay.
Is it okay?
I just wanted to make sure that you
I got
did. Okay.
Hi there.
Hello. Tim Mitchell, 178 Walden Court.
Okay.
But I'm here mostly on behalf of Casey and Megan Benz. They couldn't make it tonight.
I have their email here.
Oozles. Okay, perfect. So if you have that email, then I don't have to read that part.
Okay.
So I'll just write this down quick. So it sounds like we're already on the right track with specifying business side versus residential side. So I own a small business. I own Rome Outdoors right across the road here. So I just wanted to show support for all the small businesses here that are doing the tents already. I don't care what town you go to. They're there. They don't need permits. They do it. There's really not a whole lot to be against business versus residential. And it sounded like, if I understood correct, that there wouldn't be a building permit for a larger size tent. I don't know if I understood that correct, but I don't.
It was had a solid roof. Is that
Yeah, solid roof. Yeah, so if I understood that right, but if the tents that we're talking about with that are up and down and the fireproof material, I personally, as a business owner, there shouldn't be building permits for that. There shouldn't be any kind of permit required for that. That's their investment. They're buying the tent. They're renting the tent. That's an investment that the business is making to generate revenue, and I don't think the town should be butting in on that at all. So that's, and then obviously the definitions, you guys will all work that out, obviously. So you kind of covered mostly that end of it. So it sounds like you're on the right track. So I just wanted to make sure that Hoozle's got their email and all that as well. So that's all I got.
just a correction that it's the canopies with a floor area greater than 120 square feet would require a zoning and a building permit is what we're proposing in the change to the ordinance.
So you'd need a building permit to put it up and take it down?
No, it would just be one
for the
permit of
year?
each, I believe, right, for the year, yeah.
Okay.
Okay,
All right, thank you.
thank you. Is there anybody else that wants to speak regarding Greg?
Yes, Greg Baining, 467 Duffers Trail. My question is, what precipitated this change? There had to be a complaint or something that would have changed where the planning commission wants to change this. I'd just like to know what reason there was for a change, multiple complaints, or what?
I can address that.
Please.
Okay.
I'd like the answer to that too, and I sat on the subcommittee and I couldn't get the answer.
Oh, okay.
So,
Okay, my issue is, if this is a complaint about these type of tents, and it could be a complaint because your neighbor has one in their backyard, that we would make such an all-encompassing rule that they can't. And personally, I'm on the board of directors for Lake Arrowhead. One of the things that we try to do is sift out people that have their own private agenda. And so to try to keep everybody happy, and if it's self-serving, we basically don't really address it.
Now, keep in mind what we're looking at here is business district, B1.
Yes.
Okay.
And actually it sounds like you're doing something, it's probably gonna generate revenue for the town, and make it a little bit of a hassle, cause they're gonna have to get a building permit, which means that they will then have to have it inspected and get the sign of the cross on that one. So really, that's why I say, who in the world would make this change, and what precipitated it? Was it a complaint because somebody had their neighbor in the backyard? Okay.
Neighbor in the backyard would be a residential issue.
Right.
And this is, again, business.
Okay, well, then a complaint about business. I'd just like to know if they're having all kinds of problems with these tents and that kind of stuff. And personally, I haven't heard it. But, so, if it's a complaint from a person about one establishment, I don't think it's fair for you to change it for everybody. So, then it just doesn't make any sense to me.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? Okay, I just want to read the email that I got from the owners of Hoozles, I believe. It says, hello all, thank you for taking the time to review the current zoning language for amendment of Chapter 360 zoning, Article 3, General Regulations, 360-10, accessory uses and structures regarding canopies. Unfortunately, Casey and I will not be able to attend the meeting in person this evening. Please take our comments into consideration during your discussion. When Hoozles at the Lakes opened in 2020, we purchased a 40 by 80 tent that complies with NFPA 701-2 fire retardant. Each year we spend several thousands of dollars to have the tent professionally installed, removed, and cleaned. The tent serves as an integral part of our summer business and local tourism, hosting live entertainment, craft and vendor markets, private events, etc. We are able to provide a comfortable space outdoors that is guarded from weather, be it sun, wind, or rain. It has been quite disheartening having this issue brought to light, considering we are going into our 5th season using our tent and have yet to have any complaints or issues regarding it. However, we are confident that a fair resolution will be agreed upon. We are asking for the current code to be amended with B1 business district zoning separated out from residential districts. We would like to see no restriction for business to utilize a tent or canopy, with the exception of complying with setback requirements specific to zoning district. Megan and Casey Benz, Hoozles at the Lakes. This was dated April 9th. Mark?
Yeah, so Mark Anderson, owner of The Lure, and I think we were part of this discussion originally as well. After our discussion with the previous zoning administrator, or whatever his title was, Dan, we were told that this would not be a problem. He wasn't enforcing it, or didn't believe this applied to business zoning. And so with his guarantee that we were in the clear, we purchased a tent to comply with similar tents as what Hoozles and other local businesses have been using. So we also support this change, obviously, for the tent to allow it in business zoning. And I think as much as we can do to be pro-business and allow less red tape for something like this would be good. So we have a very similar tent to what Hoozles has.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, we're gonna move on then to 7D. Consideration of the issuance of a conditional use permit for the following purpose. A short-term rental at the property located at 967 Mansfield Court, owned by John and Christy Hotz, also described as Lot 2 of Chatham addition to Lake Camelot, located in the southeast 1/4, southwest corner, section 15, town 20 north, range 6 east, town of Rome, Adams County, Wisconsin, parcel number of 030-5137. Nick?
John and Christy Hodds have submitted a short-term rental application and conditional use permit for the property located at 967 Mansfield Court, requesting use for the 2023-2024 season that ends June 30th, 2024. Letters were sent to 9 property owners within 200 feet of the affected property. The Plan Commission places conditions on conditional use permits issued to short-term rentals that will set maximum occupancy and maximum number of vehicles allowed on the property based on the standards found in the Town Code, Chapter 234-61. Staff recommends a maximum occupancy of 5, maximum vehicles of 3 to be parked on hard surfaces, not on the long grass property. The applicant has completed all license requirements, including a property manager within 25 miles on record with the town.
Thank you. Is either John or Christy here and would like to speak? Please, just come up and tell us what your plans are and what you'd like to do, and we'll go from there.
Absolutely. So about a year ago, we came to Nakusa.
Just pull that microphone down a little closer. There might be people watching at home that want to hear what you have to say.
The millions.
So we came here about a year ago, and we fell in love with the area and immediately put an offer on a lot. We built this home with our blood, sweat, and tears, and we'd like to share it with others, bring tourism to the area, and quality renters when we're not here.
Okay. The only thing that I noticed on their application was the term, the length of the term. They have 5 years and not possibly indefinite, which would be something that we would make note of, I guess, when time comes. Right?
Is that something we can change?
We have in the past asked them if their intention is 5
Oh.
years, and we can adjust it on the findings of fact, or they can adjust it if they choose to do so.
So would you intend to be doing this longer than in a 5-year period?
Yeah.
Okay. Commissioners, any questions? Okay, is there anybody in the audience that would like to speak in favor or against their proposed conditional use permit for short-term rental? Okay, thank you. 7E, consideration of a primary plot for Sedge Village South to be located on a 29.16 acre parcel owned by Sand Valley South LLC, also described as follows: lots 26, 27, and 28, Sedge Village document number 572728, and part of the northwest 1/4 and northeast 1/4 of the southwest corner and the northwest quarter of the southeast quarter, all in section 26, town 20 north, range 5 east, town of Rome, Adams County, Wisconsin. And is there anybody, Nick, I'm sorry, go ahead.
All right, applicant Sedge Village LLC has submitted a preliminary plat for Sedge Village South subdivision. The proposed 29.16 acre subdivision is located partially on lots 26, 27, and 28 within Sedge Village subdivision, as well as a portion of adjacent quarter sections of section 26. 11 lots are proposed in the plat, with lot sizes ranging from 1.04 acres to 7.59 acres. Private roadways serve the proposed subdivision, extending from Luna Lane, previously platted as part of Sedge Village subdivision, and noted as under construction. Included in your packet materials are a proposed preliminary plat with accompanying preliminary plat application, property limits map with noted current property owners, NRCS soil report, site plans, utility and stormwater management summary, declaration of covenants, conditions and restrictions and easements, and legal description. Staff reviewed the initial preliminary plat submission based on the standards found in Town Code Chapter 32614, which is the subdivision procedure section. They provided feedback to the developer. I did note in the department report that there were a number of things that were pointed out and corrected. There was one additional remaining item, which was addressing the turnarounds or cul-de-sac requirements. I would just note that at your tables this afternoon is a updated preliminary plat map for Sedge Village South. The updated version on the large map up in the corner says the updated, so make sure you're looking at that one. And I would just reference that the reason that I pointed out is because that version does have now turnarounds addressed in there, and so all of the things that have been pointed out to to them as far as remaining items from the preliminary review have been made, reflected in your packet materials. Letters were sent to 9 property owners within 200 feet of the affected property.
Is there anyone from Sand Valley here that wishes to speak? Sir, please.
Hi, John Kastner with Vierbecker, civil engineer and survey. You have any questions on the bill?
I have one question, regarding, not that I really understand too much of the, on the soil analysis that was submitted. I don't know if you're familiar with that aspect of it.
Sure.
It looks like the map or the rendering that we were given of the area is not this property. I think it's a little further north.
Sure.
I think the picture is a little bit further north, not showing this property.
Yeah, I believe the soil reports that we have was for the larger area, and we continue to kind of submit the same one. But those are very similar soils throughout the area.
But it is not necessarily this property that we're showing.
It's Sand Valley, and I believe that was Sedge Village, and this is in Sedge Village.
Right, the map, this one, although it's a larger one that we were given,
Yep. Oh, yeah.
showing this area up in here, the property that we are looking at is here.
But the report is for the entire area.
I believe that
Sedge Village.
that viewport might be just it's a large area, so I can double check that.
Area. Even though the picture is, if I read it correctly, the report's for the entire area.
Okay, but then, well, okay.
So-
The map is misleading.
The map, yeah,
Correct.
the picture's misleading, but
Map
the
is misleading.
report's for the entire
But
Sedge
the
Valley.
report is for the entire
Village.
Sedge Village.
But the identification of the site is referencing this picture, and this picture is not what
The report.
the report is about.
And that report is a online report that we're given through the USDA NRCS. So we don't have the functionality to change that
Okay.
cover page at all. Additionally, with all of our soil reports, we do have soil test pits that are taken that are in areas of any development, and we submit to DNR, submit to Adams County, and we do a lot of we have all the proper permitting that's associated with that.
Did Adams County approve that to some degree?
The
And that is the
approval of that, they've
report,
seen this
correct?
report
Right.
multiple times, yes, and they have the same packet or very similar packet.
The same, a similar package?
Yes.
On the utility and stormwater management report,
Yep.
there's the introductory narrative says that there's 10 lots, 10 new single-family residences, and in actuality, there are 11.
The 11th, sorry, Nick.
11 lots, but there's 10, so 10 lots, it looks like will have residences, and then the 11th lot is that larger 7
Correct.
point, whatever acre parcel. So I think what they're referencing is the home sites that will
Okay.
be identified on the plat.
Okay. And then with regard to the declaration of covenants, I'm not sure. First of all, our code specifies with regard to what the plan commission is to receive for this, we should be also getting bylaws. Is that not premature at this stage to ask for the bylaws when we don't have the actual document, the other formal documents for the association? And I was just wondering if we might need to not need those items for this particular aspect.
I think how we've processed it in the past is where they haven't been ready. We've acknowledged that and often received it at the final plat
Okay.
step. In this case and other cases where they're prepared already, we certainly accept them and check them off of the list.
And in the declaration, it talks about lots 1 through 28 and 29 through 33. So this is only the beginning of this, where these declarations are going to be encompassing a lot more lots. Is that correct then?
Those lot numbers lead me to believe that is very similar to, or that was for Sedge Village lots, and it's gonna be a lot of the same language, cause
This is
it's in
Sedge
the
Village
same-
South.
Correct.
Yes. So there are going to be future plats and things of that coming forward, and these declarations are going to be probably covering all of those aspects as well.
There's a lot of overlap between what was for Sedge Village, the overall one, and then what's now for Sedge South.
And to answer your question, we do also have Sedge, so on the next agenda, so next Plan Commission agenda, we have received a preliminary plat for Sedge Village North. So you will see a couple different pieces of this coming forward in the next couple months.
Okay. But we are only discussing Sedge Village South.
Yeah, this part here, this
Lots
is,
1 through 33, according to the Declaration of Restrictions, and we're only doing 11 lots today. Okay, thank you.
any other questions for this gentleman from,
If I were going to do,
come up to the podium, Greg, please,
Okay.
so everybody can hear you.
if I were going to, let's say I owned a farm and I was gonna subdivide it, I would believe that, let's say, put 10 lots in. I would believe that every single lot should have a boring to make sure that the soil there will handle a drain field. I wouldn't put a boring in the very far northwest of my property and say it's good enough to cover all of it. So, and that's basically what's happening here. And I'd like to see that they do a boring at every lot. And they make sure that it's gonna conform to having a drain field. That one in the plot north of it, or south of it, that doesn't mean anything. So you're gonna have a problem at the lots, not out there. Thank you.
Commissioners, any other questions, before we go to the audience?
I'd like to hear a response to that, please.
Go ahead, please.
That's a good question. So, for DSPS or for Department of Public Safety, we do 3 soil borings for each pump system. So prior to having approvals for construction, that does it does happen.
That's good.
Yeah.
Thank you. Any other questions from the commission? Anyone in the audience have anything to say regarding this, for or against? Okay, thank you, sir. Number 8 is to close the public hearing. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
One second.
Second by Lori. Motion by Tom, second by Lori to close the public hearing. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, then all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. The next section is discuss and possible action on the following items. Number 9, discussion of possible action regarding the meeting minutes from Tuesday, March 12th, 2024. Everybody should have gotten a copy of a draft of the meeting minutes from Taylor.
I make a motion that we approve the minutes from the March 12th, 2024 meeting.
I'll second.
Motion by Diana, seconded by Paul, to approve the meeting minutes from Tuesday, March 12th, 2024, as presented. Any further discussion? Hearing none, then all in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carried. Item number 10, discussion of possible action, Heartland Custom Homes Incorporated, review of landscaping, lighting, parking, and sign plan for the property address of 1144 County Highway D, also described as Lot 1 CSM 6905, located in the southwest 1/4 of the northeast 1/4, Section 8, Town 20 North, Range 6 East, Town of Rome, Adams County, Wisconsin, parcel number of 030-637-20. Heartland Farms. I saw somebody with a sweatshirt on, it said Heartland Farms.
Holmes.
Holmes, I'm sorry, I apologize. I do.
Trying to expand your horizon.
Yeah. I had one question regarding, your site plan. Nowhere on the plan do I see anything as far as a drainage field or septic. I know that on your original, application for, site plan of plat operation, you indicated town sewer. Well, obviously, you know we don't have any town sewer. So what is the plan for the
Yep, so we-
septic system?
So we do have approved septic systems, sanitary systems.
Do you know whereabouts on your map they're gonna go?
Yep, so the east building, that drain field is gonna be to the north, on the north property line. So it'll be to the north of the parking lot.
Okay, just to the west of where that dumpster area would be then?
Yep, and then the west building, that drain field is gonna be towards going with Highway 13, so towards the highway.
Okay,
Both of those have been approved through Adams County.
Okay.
Sanitary permits.
Commissioners, that's the only thing I had, Commissioners, so, next up.
Looking at your landscape plan,
Yep.
you have some beds drawn out in the front. It says landscape rock. We're not adding any trees, any shrubs across the front of these buildings is what it looks like to me. Am I correct on that?
Correct. Just given the space that's in front of the buildings, we do have the existing trees that are both on the south end of the lot, that are gonna be on both sides of the driveway. We do have the two landscape areas that are towards 13 with breaker run, retention rock, and then also some native grasses and shrubs. So,
Looking at your arrows on this, it appears to be a one-directional parking lot.
it's not gonna be diagonal where it's one directional, but it is a suggested travel of.
Because I see it going around, I don't see the arrows going back and forth.
Right.
So
Yep.
it gives me the impression you're supposed to stay to the right when you pull in.
Yep, try and follow that. More so that's for, if there's, depending on what tenants would be in the building, if they need a straight truck delivery, just trying to have a route for any deliveries of, depending on what tenants would be in the buildings.
Is this parking area going to be paved?
Yep. Yep, it has to be according to Gateway.
I believe this was returned back from the Rometown boards. Simply, we had already approved it, but it was returned back from the town board because of the lighting and the landscaping. Was that all?
No, it was returned back to us because the plan commission had not had these plans.
Is that what it was?
Yes.
Okay, all right, I was just asking for clarification.
We
Okay.
had not seen these, so one of the board members asked that it be returned and we see it, and then sent through a
More
approval.
complete plan, okay, thank you. So we had some of our initial questions answered the first time.
Right, yeah, so it was just parking, landscaping, and lighting that was gonna be reviewed.
To come back.
Originally,
Right.
originally it said, we tried to save them a
And a
step in the
signage
process
plan.
and said, go right to the board, and that was not accepted by one of the board members.
Do you have any updates on what your sign might be, or anything at this moment? Cause isn't there an issue with I thought I was told there was a temporary something for signage that it's gonna expire possibly, or am I correct?
Yeah, it's expiring soon, and then at that point, they wouldn't be able to have another one, so they would have to come before you with their permanent sign.
Yep, so at that time we would, obviously the buildings are just getting started.
Right.
And they are for lease, so we don't have an idea exactly what the needs are gonna be for that sign yet.
Okay.
So when we get to that point of having a permanent sign, knowing what we will need at that point, and looking at the leases, yes, it will have to comply with B1 and Gateway. We would do the new sign proposal then. So currently, we have the sign that is existing there, that's been there, It's a 4x8, double-sided, and the reason it's temporary is because we just have a canvas sign over that. So
Okay.
if we do need something in the meantime, I would propose that I order a hard side sign and of the same exact sign that's there.
I was just concerned that whatever sign that you did currently have up, the time frame was gonna expire on that being permitted. So,
Yeah, that might be something to review as a board on what temporary signage looks like, and, I mean, the sign that's there is the same sign that's been standing there since before we've owned the property. You know, the same structure, the same landscape around it, the same size, all we've done was just put a canvas over it stating that there is space available and building soon, so.
okay, can
If we
you,
need to change it to a hard side to make it a permanent sign, I can order.
can you give me a little insight here, Nick, or?
I suspect the best path forward, given the upcoming expiration here, would be that they take out a sign permit for what will be a interim permanent sign, it sounds like, until they get some tenants. So that would be a sign permit that they would take out for the time being, and then when they do have a more finalized permanent sign, that would be a revision to their sign permit. That would be my suggestion. That
Okay.
works within the temporary sign permit timelines and moves them to a more permanent sign structure.
Okay,
And with the permanent sign, the application for that, it doesn't need to come back through the board, correct? That's just an application like any other permit?
This one had this had a condition that the sign permit would have to come back to the plan commission. Although if the plan commission wanted to clarify that the more permanent, final sign be the one that comes before you, rather than the interim one, that would probably not be a bad idea. Because at some point, when they get their tenants in, they will have an update in a more permanent sign. That would probably be the one that you really wanna see, and have a sign off on.
Agreed, thank you.
is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak for or against the, do we even have that? Cause this isn't a public hearing on this, is it?
You're done.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, not unless you've received a request to
No.
comment and you held on that to address it here.
Okay. Commissioners, anything else? Okay, I'm sorry, I don't know your first name.
Will,
Will, thank you.
thank you.
Item number 11.
Uh,
I'm sorry,
Are we gonna take an action and move this forward to
yeah.
the board?
I'm sorry, yeah.
It would, and it wouldn't go to the board, that's not how this was referred here.
Right.
This would be, you'd just be accepting and.
The
and putting it
plans
on
and let
file.
them go forward with them
Correct.
as part of the plan of operation. All right. Then I move that we accept them as part of the plan of operation.
I'll second it.
It's a motion by Bill, seconded by Paul to approve the review of or approve the landscaping, lighting, parking, and sign plan for the property located at 1144 County Highway D belonging to Heartland Custom Homes Incorporated. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Number 11, discussion of possible recommendation to the town board, consideration of sign permit to locate a 4.3 foot by 6.2 foot off-premise sign at the intersection of Alpine Drive and Geneva Trail for Rome Town Center.
I have a question, for Taylor and Nick, was there any discussion with Brad about the ability to put this on the other side of the road across from the church near the electrical box?
It was approved at the CDA for the location, so that was just where he had got the bid for it to go, I guess.
Oh, we did approve, okay, I didn't realize that we had approved the actual location. I think we just approved the sign, but,
Yeah, he had just said where you guys had talked about it at the CDA instead of
Okay.
where it was, so, and he was just
Okay.
going off of past conversations for Geneva.
okay,
Yep, so that's what
Alright.
he went off of.
thank you. I'll move for recommendation to the town board, consideration of the sign permit to locate the 4.3 by 6.2 off-premise sign at the intersection of Alpine Drive and Geneva Trail for the Rome Town Center.
I'll second it. Was there a second?
Motion by Lori, seconded by Tom to approve the sign, a 4.3 by 6.2 off-premise sign at the intersection of Alpine Drive and Geneva Trail for Rome Town Center. Is there any further discussion?
I know this is in the right of way, but the property owner that abuts the right of way, were they notified that this sign is going to be placed in the right of way next to their property, and is it necessary to let them know? Or?
I don't know to the extent that a property owner was notified, but we don't have notification.
No notification? Okay. And this is not going to be interfering with that property at all, as far as ingress, egress, driveways, nothing?
Shouldn't be.
Do we know the reason why CDA would have approved it being off-site rather than across the street, as Lori had said? Do we know?
I can't honestly remember approving it on that side of the road, to be honest with you. I just remember approving the sign and Brad picking the location, but.
I can look back and review the minutes and I can get back to you on that. And I just know that that's where they had said on Geneva Trail, and then that's where Brad had gone out and done the measurements. And that's where he had come back to say it was going, and that it was on Geneva. So, that's where that came
It'll be on the corner, not on Geneva. Right?
Well, it's
across the street.
It's across the street.
ID.
I thought there was one on both sides.
No, there's only one on the north side of the street. There's two stakes out there now.
Right.
About dead even with Geneva Trail middle of the road. I think it's a good location because we're not gonna interfere with the church's sign at all. And we don't know what Quick Trip's plans are on the parcel they have if we use that right away. But it's right in line with the road. You can see it going east, east or west on Alpine Drive. I feel it's a good location with only having to use one sign that you can see it from both directions, and it's right, turn at the sign and you'll be on Geneva Trail.
And the arrow points you in the right direction.
Yeah, if they put the sign up properly, it will. Could be just the opposite, you never know.
And there was discussion, we didn't wanna interfere, it's high enough, we didn't wanna interfere with the church sign. But now that Tom has mentioned it, we don't know what Quick Trip's gonna do with their property, so it would avoid
Okay.
us having to move it in the future, which is a good point.
And there's really no driveways close to the
No, there's
sign that it
nothing
would
there.
affect
More
anybody's
storage
view,
room- There's more storage.
but even with the storage,
plans. Yeah,
so.
Okay.
yeah.
Any other questions?
No.
Okay. So a motion is made by Lori, seconded by Tom to approve the sign, the intersection of Alpine and Geneva Trail for Rome Town Center. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, then all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Number 12. Discussion and possible recommendation to the town board, consideration of a site plan of operation for Kent Schneider, KMC Tux LLC, doing business as Cal's Corner, to construct a seating area / addition at 382 State Road 13, also described as Lot 76 of Canterbury addition to Lake Sherwood, located in the southwest 1/4 southeast 1/4 section 17, town 20 north, range 6 east, town of Rome, Adams County, Wisconsin, with a parcel number of 030-1951.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes,
just
sir.
a reminder to the Plan Commission that this starts a number of items that have findings of fact included in your packets.
Very good.
Mr. Chair.
Sir.
Motion that we recommend to the town board, that they approve the request from Mr. Schneider and include the findings of fact as written.
Okay.
I will second with discussion.
Second by Lori. Again, the motion is made by Bill, seconded by Lori, to recommend to the town board the site plan and plan of operation for Kent Schneider's Cal's Corner at 382 State Road 13. Discussion.
Yes. I did wanna, ask about the paving and signage. If that's part, I did not read anything in here about paving or signage, now that there's a new building going up and extending out further that direction, and usually we take those things under consideration when new building takes place.
Please. As far as paving goes, I wasn't planning on it yet, just because it's still, the gravel is working just fine. The people that paved south of me, it's already starting to crumble. Your other question was?
Signage, your signs, your
Signs,
existing signs that are
I'm
out.
not adding any more. It's not even gonna interfere with the current signage.
So the sign that you currently have would not be in the way of the new building that you're constructing?
Not even close.
So that sign would stay, okay.
Yep, yeah, that's not even close.
And
You
then
got-
the portable temporary sign that's, or the portable sign that's out by the road,
I can move that.
that can be removed?
Yeah, it's just a portable sign.
Okay. But as far as paving, in the Gateway District, usually we have requirements for paving as,
150 feet from the center line of the road, is it not? If we're still in
We're in discussion.
I have no issue with this at all.
No.
My issue, though, is we're not seeing any building design plans, including exterior colors, finishes, and samples required. We don't know, I mean, we know what the floor plan's gonna look like, but we don't know what the building's gonna look like. I'm sure you're gonna make it blend in, but we don't know that. And if we approve something without being told what the exterior is gonna look like, all of a sudden you put pink siding on it, we're in trouble. So, I'm not saying you're going to, but we do ask in the new business information sheet, building design plans including exterior colors, finishes, and samples required. So I'm just touching base on that.
proposed
Sure.
signage. If your sign's staying, then you're fine, but are you changing any landscaping? I see where you're going with some of that.
I mean, ADA handicap parking spot should be marked on the site plan and stuff like that.
And
I mean, the
those-
design
yeah.
of the building, I don't, it just trying to cover our bases, that's
No,
all.
I understand. We already have the handicap. We have 2 spots there. It looks like it goes out to the parking lot. It doesn't. As far as the building, I mean, I have to make it presentable to get people to come in. We're going to keep the same color. I can. When you say bring samples, you just want a palette of the paint that we have.
If we had included in the packet, instead of just a footing diagram and a seating diagram, we should also have a wall and roof diagram showing us where windows, doors, exits are gonna be, and what the exterior of the building, height of the wall, and stuff like that, that we require for basically all other new businesses. I know you're not new, but when an addition's going on, it's sort of considered new again.
Sure. The windows should be on there. As far as the height, it's going to continue the same height. I can get that from my architect. Quite frankly, the outside of the building is going to stay somewhat the same color, but we haven't even gotten that far. I just want to make sure I can do this right. As far as shrubbery and stuff, I'm not having any. But I can certainly provide that. It's not going to be a pink building would look pretty bad in Rome. I like the color pink, but not.
I know,
not,
it's just from
not for,
the
I understand.
side
No,
of the
no, you guys are
counter,
covering
we
it.
have to
Yep.
make sure that we
I get it.
treat all new businesses coming before us with the same criteria and the same what we need to look at. I mean, I don't wanna hold you up or anything, but
No, understandable.
we
I get
need
it.
to see the wall heights, color, pitch of the roof. We-
Essentially elevations.
Elevations, because I mean, there is a requirement for roof pitch too, that, you know, if he comes back with a 1-2 pitch roof, a flat roof, that's not gonna be, you know, we just have to see the whole addition. Is my feeling.
Okay.
So we need to see the exterior colors and finishes, samples required under building design plans, as part of your building design plans. Maybe an idea of a paving plan.
Talk to Will
left. Can you call him back in here? Exterior colors, pavement plan,
Roofing,
And I guess the elevations,
elevation.
I mean, you gave us the elevations for the footings. They show us how the footings are gonna go in. It appears like, which is, so whoever drew this probably has the rest of the pages to it.
They do, yep.
And
I
they
thought
just
you guys
didn't
had
include
that.
it in the packet. So that's my only question.
All right, so do I have to come to a meeting to do that again?
In the past, haven't we just had people present those to us to look at, and it would not be necessary for him to return?
You placed it as a condition.
condition that they present it to the zoning administrator or the support specialist or to approve?
And then it's been brought
Or
back to
is
you.
it your desire to have it brought back to another meeting?
I can live with that. Just sometimes those people approve and not right.
Okay.
We can live with that.
I thought you guys had the elevation. That is probably really important versus, I mean, the colors, I'm not gonna be ignorant about that, and I understand you need to see that, but I thought you had the elevations and everything. Cause I know the state approved everything. I know they have the elevations, so I don't know why. you
Yeah,
guys
these
don't
were
have
the pages, so it looks like we're just missing a page or two of the blueprint that was drawn for you.
Yep.
And that's about it. But if that went back through somebody just to make sure.
Yep.
I mean, I'm assuming the wall, I looked at your building, I assume you're gonna keep the same roof design coming out and the same
Absolutely.
wall height. You're not gonna go up to 14 feet, you're not gonna step it up again.
No.
But that's what we're not seeing on here.
Right.
And if we approve it and you're going up like the building next to you, 16 feet in the front to have an upper we just
No, I
wanna
understand.
make sure that
No, I understand.
the roof line comes out, the siding looks the same, the paint color's the same.
Yep, absolutely, I can get that
That's
for you. No sweat. Yeah, you're exactly right. If my outside wall facing west, just push it out. I think it's 42 feet or something like that, 3 inches. That's pretty much what's gonna happen.
I'll move that we, recommend to the Rome Town Board consideration of the wait a minute, let's see here.
You have to amend the motion.
Oh. That's right. You have to amend the motion. You made it, I seconded it.
Or we vote this down and then add conditions.
Or you withdraw your motion.
Withdraw your motion to make a
I'll
new
withdraw my
one?
motion. Go ahead.
I withdraw my second.
Okay,
No, go ahead.
go ahead, yeah.
I'll move to recommend to the town board consideration of the site plan of operation for Kent Schneider KMC Tux LLC doing business as Cal's Corner to construct a seating area addition at 8382 State Road 13 with the following findings of fact. Exterior colors and finishes samples are required for the exterior and roofing materials. We say lighting plan? Also, no, we just said colors, right?
Colors.
Paving plan. Portable sign will be removed from the parking lot.
You wanna reference the new business sheet?
On the new, as it states on the new business sheet, or?
Yeah, I think that'd be a good way to go, wouldn't it?
All right. Did I miss anything that we discussed?
Elevations.
Yeah, it would be the building elevations and roof pitch is the other.
Building elevations and roof pitch. Is that everything?
It says exterior colors, finishes, so.
I said that, exterior
you were-
colors and finishes, okay.
And are those to be brought back to you or the zoning administrator with an update to you?
To the zoning administrator with an update to the plan commission prior to the next, oh, that won't be happening though. To the zoning administrator with an update to the plan commission. And that way you get moving and-
Am I good?
Is there
your septic system is good for the addition that was approved by Adams County?
It's being tested right now. It's still being tested. I got everything tested. I'm waiting to hear back from them. I'm gonna put in a new septic either way. And I gotta get that, that's gonna be before once I get this, I need a new septic. It's all cast iron anyways. And I gotta come back before you guys again.
Well, Adams County's gonna tell them that we won't.
Yeah, Adams County's in charge of the septic, I just saw the extra seating. You're
Yep. Oh,
obviously
yeah.
adding extra restrooms in the site. We saw that, just so that the septic system can
Oh, yeah.
handle what you're proposing, and if it can't handle it, you know that you have to deal with Adams County on that aspect.
I already have the
And-
paperwork's in here, thanks to
So we'll add
Taylor.
approval of Adams County, or add, Nick, would it be appropriate to add, we've done that in the past, or,
He's actually gonna have to get approval from Adams County before
Right.
you can get a building permit.
correct?
That's
No?
gonna come into play once
that
you-
doesn't-
Anyway, okay.
Okay.
Is there a second to Lori's,
I'll second Lori.
okay. I'll try and read this back. Okay, the recommendation to the town board for the site plan of operation for Ken Schneider, KMC Tux LLC, doing business Cal's Corner at 382 State Road 13, to accept the findings of fact with the following conditions: that Mr. Schneider provide colors for the building, roofing material colors, the pitch of the roof, a paving plan, the temporary sign removal, and follows the business plan for, the new business plan for the, and that those conditions be provided to the zoning administrator with an update to the planning commission. Am I close?
Support specialist.
Support
Report back
specialist.
to the planning commission, yeah.
Anything else that I missed, Nick?
No.
Okay.
You don't look, do we get
Well,
everything? What,
The concern I have is that you're referencing that new business sheet, but you're not being clear on what you're expecting of that.
well,
I,
the
if I
building
had to,
design plans, do you want us to be more clear that way, the building design plans?
I had written down the items that you all discussed specifically, that way it's clear to the, individual what they need to bring back to the zoning administrator for approval and then update to you all. The only, not that there's anything wrong with what you've moved, other than what on that sheet specifically are you referencing? I think you've pulled off things
I see
and
what
have
you're
referenced
saying.
it in the other conditions, so then it's kinda like you're referencing these other things, and then all of a sudden it's just, and everything else.
Mr. Chair, may I try that again then for you?
Would you just like to amend your motion to remove the new business plan, language?
Well, I said it, the new business plan referring to building design plans, exterior colors and finishes, samples required, and the paving plan. That's what I said,
Okay,
correct? Okay. Now we're good?
okay, so then the motion and second are on the table. Is there any further discussion?
I have a question regarding the paving plan. What exactly, if he goes to the zoning the interim, or
She's a zoning support
The
specialist.
The
zoning
zoning sup-
administrative assistant support specialist.
Taylor,
That's me.
Yeah, goes to Taylor, right.
does that has to comply with what? Having it installed within 1 year, or does he have to come back and have approval, or is Taylor going to just say that's fine, whatever the paving plan is, or what are we looking for? What should we tell
I would say
Kent?
since I'm being trained by Jeff Thielen at MSA, I would then run it by him for his approval at that point, and then I would bring it to you guys. So, since I'm being trained by Jeff.
I have a question though too. The business to the south of you only paved out so far from the business. Who owns that road?
That's an
It's
easement.
an easement.
Okay, okay,
It is. So, that's a very, very good question, cause my lot lines go closer to 13 than my building.
Okay.
So when Emily was here, I said, well, theoretically, I'm not going to do that. But that's the property itself, right? There's an easement there, from what I understand. That's subject to what have you. I'm not quite sure either. But I don't know it's my property. I plow my portion in the wintertime. Randy's been very kind enough to let me use his parking lot as well. He's a very good friend of mine. Why he paved that the way he did, I can't answer that question. As you know, paving's very, very expensive. I'd love to do it, but my parking lot's about 3 times the size of his. We put it ended up being $7,500 worth of new gravel and all that stuff down. I don't know, you're gonna have to, if I have to pave it, I'll pave it. It's worked out pretty good so far. I don't know. I'm trying to do this one step at a time. And I don't know that it is, do I have to pave it? I don't know that I have to.
Do
In the
we wanna do
Gateway
it similar to
District.
do we wanna do it similar to what we've done in the Rome Town Center, where we give them so many months?
There's your 150-foot line.
Where is it?
There's your 150-foot line. There's your property line. What are you gonna ask them to pave?
So do you know where the 150, Bill does,
We'll bring you up.
Where's the
where does the 150-foot line,
If you look at this map.
okay,
Take a look at the map, see where the 150-foot line is from State Highway 13, and look at where his property line ends. And then tell me what you want him to pay.
what am I missing here?
What does it say,
This-
Nick, in this whole?
Okay, this one,
gateway?
okay.
And it's the third sheet.
It references Rome Town Center, requirements, I think, general
I
requirements.
believe it does, correct? So before you, refer to me,
I'm just asking.
So I guess I'm,
refer to the,
can you tell me from looking at that map, Bill, as to how much distance is between the right-of-way up to where the proposed, up to the property line?
No, I cannot.
Mr. Schneider, do you know?
Quite frank, I mean, when I had my architect come in, I had I try to do everything methodically. I
Sure.
might not be the smartest person, but I'm very logical. I had Badgerland come out and survey the property first before I even, actually I came to Emily, said, hey, do I even have an option to expand? She said, she put up the plot map, said, absolutely, you can go this far, you can go this far. Okay, next logical step, Badgerland, can you survey this property? Came out and surveyed it. We were within 15 feet of everything, at least. And then I had to come in for a variance because we weren't within 15 feet. So I don't know if there's 2 different maps out there. I'm just as confused, honestly, because Badgerland, that's what they do for a living, I was well within the 15 feet, but I was told by the town of Rome I had to have a variance from Dan or some, I don't remember who said, but, so I jumped through that hoop, because, again, I went ahead, my architect design that within the 15 feet. So with that said, help. I don't.
well, I would say this, we've gotten you a lot farther along than you've been in the last 2 years, is that correct?
Oh no, Lori, you've been great. No, I'm not complaining.
No,
I'm-
no, I know you're not, but
No,
I
I-
know
it's
you're
a-
not, and we're just trying to figure out.
It's
I
a
understand,
it's a
and I
process,
feel-
yeah.
I feel so bad for you, the frustration you've
No,
suffered in
it's-
the last 2 years, it shouldn't have taken you
It's-
that long.
It's
So
quite
now
all
let's
right.
just try to figure out what we can do for you on this paving, and I feel bad that it took you that long to get to where you are today.
It's, you know what, I'm not here for the short term, so.
No, and I hear your
I'm good.
frustration, and I get it, and it shouldn't have taken you that.
Yeah, it's just the unknown. I mean, one person says one thing, another person says,
we
and that's what,
understand.
and that's
we're
what's
happy that we
frustrating.
were able to help you figure it out in less than 4
Yep.
months.
I'm good with that.
The code requirements just say all parking areas should be paved. It doesn't set a boundary. The gateway overlay district sets the boundary.
So we can work with him, give him some time like we have in the Rome Town Center. So if we give him some time, he's building his building. So he's putting some new stuff out there. We give him time to pave it as much as he needs to, wants to. He put new gravel in there. Give him some time.
What kind of time, though?
Like we've given in the Rome Town Center. We've given him 12 months. We've given him, how long have we given
2
them to
years we
pave?
have, I think
I
we've
think we
gone
did
up to
18 months.
18 months.
So we give him 18 months. Does 18 months sound agreeable?
Yeah,
Or-
that's fine.
Or 24 months sometimes? What's the longest we've gone? 18
I
months?
think it's been 18.
All right. Does,
Sure.
Are you adopting that as a condition then, or no?
I'll add that to my motion. That sounds reasonable. Cause it's not specific in the code, did you say, Nick?
just
It says
it-
paved
it's
parking area.
Specific in that your gateway overlay has a measurement, and then it says all parking areas shall be paved. That's as specific as it gets. But you have
What's the measurement?
200 feet. Gateway. You need, Tom,
No.
are you amending your second?
Where am I?
Where are we in the amendment process? I'm sorry.
You were the second, the person that.
We're
made the
looking at the
motion made-
paving plan for additional
So,
time.
I would amend it to 18 months for paving.
Good with that?
And at that point, would you want that paving plan to come back to you then? Cause that wasn't.
I don't think it has to.
Okay.
Okay, any further discussion?
No. Not for me.
You're sighing over here, so.
Well, I guess one question would be, do you know what you have to pave now, or?
Oh, but we'll figure it out.
Well, according to Nick, all parking areas shall be paved, right? I mean, is that what the town ordinance says?
That's what the, yeah, that's the Rome Town Center
And that's what-
requirements, which then would apply to what is in the gateway overlay.
And that's what
I,
we have to.
yeah, I want it paved. It's not that I don't want it paved. That ground is so unsettled still.
Yeah, understand.
And I'd like to keep putting gravel on for a little bit to get it a little bit more settled. Cause otherwise I waste $100,000 on pavement. So that's my plan. I don't know if it fits within your guys, but we've already put 2 layers of gravel down and it's still, we're getting, I know weather has a lot to do with it. I get that. But whoever had that parking lot many, many years before me did a really crappy job. And it's just shit. So excuse my language. I didn't mean, it is. I'm sorry. Sorry. But
Honestly,
I'm trying to make it better, all right? But I want it paved. I do want it paved, and I do apologize for my foul language.
I just wanted to make sure that you understood, or, we were all in agreement.
Yeah, I mean, I have a plan in my head that what I want to build and what I want. It appeals to my customers to have pavement. I'd love to have pavement. It's not a practical thing to do at this moment, just because I gotta get it level out where it stays level for at least 6 to 12 months, at least a season, a winter season. Am I good? Oh, I don't know if I'm done yet or not.
Any further discussion?
What?
Hearing none, then all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Congratulations. Item number 13. Discussion of possible recommendation to the town board. Consideration of proposed zoning map amendment from R4 Rural Residence District to R2 1 and 2 Family and Manufactured Dwelling Residence District relating to a .5 acre portion of land being part of parcel 030-747-10, also described as Lot 1, CSM 1729, located in the southwest 1/4 southwest 1/4 section 12, Town 20 North, 26 East, Town of Rome, Adams County, Wisconsin.
Mr. Chairman,
Nick.
two things. First, this one also has a findings of fact. Second, a recommendation to you all, as far as a condition is concerned. It would be my recommendation that we put a condition on there to avoid a potential kind of flip side of the split zoning, and that being that the rezone be effective when the CSM is approved. In other words,
Yes.
CSM gets approved, rezone is effective.
So he was not here at first. He is here now.
Okay,
He's the gentleman in the back in the orange shirt.
sure.
So I don't know if you have any
I guess we'd like to
questions.
give you an opportunity to speak, sure.
Thank you, sorry for being late.
That's okay. We all have times that happens.
I own that property at 286 8th Avenue, and my neighbor is DCM Landscaping, and they came up to us a few months ago and offered to sell us a half-acre of property right adjacent to ours. And what we would like to do is we agreed to take it, but we want to separate the property line, eliminate it, and make it become one property, so I could put a garage without. And that's all I have to say. That's what we're here for today.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions of this gentleman? You're Brian?
Yes, sir.
Okay, any questions of Brian? Okay, well, thank you.
Okay.
We'll see where we go from here.
I would like to make a recommendation that the town board approve the rezoning of the parcel that is R4 to R2. It's a 0.5 acre portion of land being a part of parcel 030007470010, as proposed in the petition. And the findings of fact incorporated therein, with the condition saying that the rezone will be effective when the CSM is approved.
I'll second.
Okay. Motion by Diana, seconded by Bill, to make a recommendation to the town board to the zoning map amendment from R4 to R2 for the parcel located at 286 8th Avenue, or I shouldn't say that, that's not correct. Relating to the half-acre parcel of land being part of parcel 30-747-10, with the findings of fact, and the rezone would not be effective until after the CSM is approved. Is there any further discussion? Okay, hearing none, then all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Number 14, discussion of possible recommendation to the town board, consideration of proposed amendment to chapter 360 zoning, article 3, general regulations 360-10, accessory uses and structures regarding canopies. Go ahead.
I'll move to approve recommendation to the town board for consideration of proposed amendment to chapter 360 zoning, article 3, general regulations, 360-10, accessory uses, structures regarding canopies. Would like discussion though, Mr. Chair.
If we get a second
I'll second
for discussion.
for
Go ahead.
discussion.
Discussion.
I do agree this should go back in under business 1. It was brought to our attention. I would hope people do understand. I think there's still a bit of a confusion here. There was a joint committee in 2022 that was formed to go through the town code for certain things. This was changed under residential zoning district requirements regarding accessory structures. That committee changed it with a recommendation from the town administrator and the zoning person at that time, not realizing the impact to businesses. It had to do with residential, which is what our town attorney pointed out to us earlier when he gave the report. that was pointed out in the minutes that were attached from that subcommittee to the plan commission at the time, and also to the town board, when people here voted for that and the town board voted for that. It came to light when there was a complaint brought before the town administrator, and a person on this board showed that the code changed in February of 2023 based on a recommendation of the plan commission. So that's how this all came before us again. We want to correct it so it doesn't affect the businesses negatively. Again, that's what the attorney was explaining earlier. So that's why we brought it before you, and I appreciate the chair willing to act on this so quickly so that it doesn't negatively impact our businesses as their entertainment season begins and their bookings have been made. Thank you.
Still in discussion?
Yes, we are.
I agree with Lori that we have to separate the B1 zoning from residential zoning. But on the flip side of that, we have to make sure that when these tents go up, they are meeting certain criteria, just like a short-term rental, when we approve that. What we don't want to do is make the news because one of these business owners wasn't flame retardant tent or something, and now we're on the news because people are getting killed. I totally agree with separating them to B1, but I do think that the business owners that are putting these tents up do need to have an information sheet that talks about fire exits, fire signs, flame retardant, blocking entrances in capacity on these tents. So, as somebody said earlier in the public comments, they don't think a permit should be required. I think the town needs to know where these tents are going up. I think the fire chief would like to know where these tents are going up. I'm not implying that it's not flame retardant or anything like that, but we want to make sure we are protecting our citizens when they are at one of these events, and that we're not waiting for something to happen in one of these. I did leave the rest of the plan commission some ideas. I don't know if we want to, where we want to go from here. I have talked with our fire captain this week, and he would like to know where these are going up and et cetera. Not to make a hardship on the businesses by any means, but to protect our citizens that are attending these things. So I don't know how my fellow plan commissioners feel or anything, so that was my comment.
With regard to, as referenced in the proposed language, where did it go?
Here. This one.
Yeah. It talks about Town Code 191-13, tents and canopy tents, and it talks about the design, construction, flame proofing, location. It also says that it should be in compliance with the American Standard of Outdoor Assembly, grandstands and tents as adopted by the National Fire Protection Association, and that would be considered prima facie evidence of compliance with such recognized safe practices.
I happen to agree with you, Diana, Commissioner Doggy, and I also believe that being in B1 with IBC code, which would be enforced with B1 district, that also encompasses NFPA standards, and we already do fire inspections on these tents when they go up for events. And when they're purchased, such as the one that was purchased by the Lure, those are already made in this day and age to a certain type of fire standard for protection. And fire inspections are already made on these tents, and we've already seen that done in the past. So I think by having 191-13, we're covered in the area of safety. So I don't want to scare people and think that we're not complying with fire standard codes.
And I'm not saying we're not, but how many business owners know what 191-what is? Wouldn't it be helpful for us when they apply for their permit to give them a synopsis that they know that they have to keep fire exits open, that they have to have exit signs, that they have to have 2 fire extinguishers. Now you're counting on the business owner to go back and research this fire safety code for outdoor assembly, and let's face it, nobody's gonna go search it. So at least if they know what is expected of them, I think it would help our fire chief in the long run. Just like a short-term rental.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
Just maybe a general thought to it. What I'm hearing and what I think is being suggested is that we just prepare some kind of informational pamphlet or sheet for the, for these kind of situations, which is not necessarily something that you need to do here as part of the ordinance, but we could do, as we've done with other permits that we have in the town, to provide information to anybody that has certain situations that they need to get a permit for.
And that's also part of a fire educational day, which we have plenty of those. I think one thing that might be considered too, as we're talking about permits, we wanna be business friendly in the town as we grow. Something we should consider too is maybe if we're talking about permitting, maybe it has to take place organically at the town board when we talk about fees, I don't know, but when businesses come in for their business licenses, we can maybe at that time issue an event fee or permit that they just pay in conjunction with their business permit annually, and then hand them that information with their event permit for the tent. I don't know, we can talk about that fee at another time, but I think this synopsis here is well written. Again, the IBC code does cover the NFP standards. There are fire inspections that do take place when these tents are erected. The one thing I do wanna consider is something that the Benzes did bring up to us. And I think we're at least on the right path to be more business friendly and cover ourselves now that a complaint was filed and we now are going back and considering our businesses.
I don't like to assume, because we all know what that means, but wouldn't there also be an insurance carrier that the business owner would notify that we're going to be doing an event tent, and they would say, well, you make sure that you got all of these things in place, or you're gonna be either uninsurable or, and it's out of the purview of the town of Rome, and we're covering, our, I think, responsibility in letting them know there are town codes by having a little brochure or something given out.
Do we even deal, I'm assuming that, when the businesses, they all have insurance, I'm gonna assume, and with this accessory structure still going up, I'm assuming that would be included under their business plan?
It either is, or they have to get an additional supplemental for the period of time in which it's erected.
Yeah, we got when we bought our tent, we had to get 2 additional riders for our insurance. We got one for coverage for any injury or liability, and also for damage to the tent itself.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think the idea of handing out an informational brochure at the time that someone wanted to come in and get this permit, identifying what we have in our codes and other information, that would be sufficient.
So that doesn't really necessarily have to be recommended to the town board as part of the approval of this? It's just a kind of an ancillary thing that we provide to these folks at the time that the permit was requested?
Right, I think it's not going to necessarily be language that you're going to include here, but it is something that can be developed, and it can be mentioned at the town board, and then that can be directed at a zoning support specialist or somebody to work with the fire chief and put together some best practices and standards like we've done with short-term rentals and a number of other things that we permit in this town.
Okay. I was gonna ask one other question to you, Nick. You deal with other municipalities. How do they handle it? Is there any insight that you have?
We have heightened standards in this town that are maybe above and beyond what some of the other municipalities I represent
Okay.
have in place.
Okay, thanks, Liz.
just like to add, if I can, your fire chief, the fire chief is very on top of everything that goes on in this town. He's very friendly, really knowledgeable. He's a community fire chief. Soon as, I think he even got word of us putting up the tent at the Lure, he was there, I think, the next day. He checked all our stickers that's sewn in, fire resistant. He right away looked in his book, did the square footage, took away the square footage of their stage, and gave me exactly how many people are allowed in that tent. Told me to, no smoking in the tent signs, which we have. We have 2 fire extinguisher signs for where the fire extinguishers need to be. Keep the aisleways open. I mean, so the chief was on top of it. We're doing a sign printout for occupancy of what we're allowed to have inside the tent, for what the chief told us. So, I mean, besides writing it down, or you guys wanted it hand out per person that files a permit, the chief pretty much smells new in this town, and he's on it. So, he's a pretty good hound dog. So kudos to him for that. But to answer all of your questions, that's all been addressed right away by chief. And for us particularly, we have everything he's asked for.
Okay.
And as far as fireproof, it's sewn in. We can't do nothing with that or mess with it. So just wanted to.
And don't misunderstand, I wasn't saying that you were not good with the fire chief or anything like that. But right now, we have a tent at the Lure and we have a tent at Hoozles.
Right.
But if we think of what could happen in the next 3, 5, 7, 10, 15 years, I just want to make sure that no accidents happen in these tents. And I did talk with the fire chief. He would be more than willing to work with the zoning like he did on the short-term rental, couple of criterias, just so that everybody's on the same playing field and everybody understands what's expected. And Mark would be totally willing to work with Taylor to develop something to hand out.
Yeah. I think because there's some tents out there, I believe, that aren't fire rated. You don't want everybody throwing up some big tent that
Correct.
is gonna be a burning down issue and causing harm. So I agree. Thank you.
Okay.
So that's why I still feel we need the permit action to make sure that the fire chief knows that one is coming up. Now, whether we merge it with the business license is totally fine.
Okay, so anybody else? So let me try and hit this. We have a motion on the floor by Lori, seconded by Diana, to recommend to the town board proposed amendment to chapter 360 zoning, article 3, general regulations, 360-10 accessory uses and structures regulating canopies. Then we are adopting, I'm assuming, the language that was presented to us by Nick, and the listing of the criteria would be kind of an after the fact that would be done by the zoning department in conjunction with the fire department, or
That's not part of the motion.
no. So I'm sorry, is there any further discussion?
Well, Mr. Chair, I would like that wording to be read in to the minutes that he proposed. I went back to the February 2023 meeting and watched it and looked at the minutes, and they were in the minutes as actually proposed, rather than just referencing it, I think it makes it.
So you want him to read paragraph B?
Didn't you read that, Nick? Or did you kind of?
Would you like me to, wait, what?
I can read it in, but I thought you had read it earlier.
I did not.
The-
You want me to read this
the new-
language, or you want me to read the old language?
No, she wants to read
The
the
what
new
we're going-
language that you had prepared.
That we're going to
Proposed
incorporate into the ordinance.
I can read it because I don't know if they can pick up your sound as well as maybe my voice, but anyway. Business district. In the business B1 district, canopies that meet the criteria of an accessory use pursuant to this section may be erected upon issuance of a permit. Canopies with a floor area 120 square feet or less require the issuance of a zoning permit. Canopies with a floor area greater than 120 square feet shall require a building permit and a zoning permit. Canopies used for events exhibitions, or assembly shall comply with the standards for recognized safe practices within Chapter 191-13. The location of any canopy permitted under this subsection must comply with all setback requirements for structures in the applicable zoning district.
Mr. Chair, there was someone in the audience raising their hand, or is that not allowed anymore?
It's not.
Okay.
Well, we let these gentlemen speak, so sure, come on up.
But, like, I agree with rolling that into like the business, the business permit. I don't think there needs to be a separate building permit or separate fee or anything like that. I mean, when the businesses are doing it, their address is there, and I think there should just be a section that says that they're going to have a tent on their business license, and then chief knows that these business permits are going to have tents. I don't think you need to make a whole nother sheet and have a whole nother permit and another fee for businesses. Everybody's paying enough fees as it is. So I think just having a subsection in that business permit sheet is probably more than enough, because they're paying their insurance, and like they said, less red tape. If they're filling out their business license already, not permit, the business license rather. If they're filling that all out, I mean, what's one more box, one more section for them specifically to add if they're going to have a tent and they're paying that fee already? I think you can make it simpler than what you're currently trying to do.
Okay, thank you. I have a question then to Nick.
Well, and can I just make one general comment? We
Sure.
are talking about B1 district.
Right.
And so we have requirements for B1 district. Those businesses would have to provide a zoning permit anyway. We just update our zoning permit. I think that's pretty easy to do. It's not really a business license. It's just updating our zoning permit to reflect that they're going to have a event tent canopy.
I would suggest it'll make it easier for everybody. The simplest, the better.
If they're already paying a permit on something, just add a line for it, and then that's why add an extra fee.
Okay, thank you.
Appreciate it.
Yep. So is based on what was just presented, is the language that I read still be applicable to what we want to do?
Yes.
Okay, that's all I needed to know. So the motion has been made by Lori, seconded by Diana, to recommend to the town board the proposed amendment to chapter 30. Is there any further discussion?
Lighter moments.
I'm getting close to the end, so. Hearing none, then all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Item number 15, discussion of possible action, consideration of the issuance of a conditional use permit for the following purpose: a short-term rental at the property located at 967 Mansfield Court, owned by John and Christy Hotz, also described as Lot 2 of Chatham addition to Lake Camelot. And part of my thing is not printed correctly, so let me go back to the first page. Where is it? Also described as Lot 2 of Chatham addition to Lake Camelot, located in the southeast 1/4, southwest corner, section 15, town 20 north, range 6 east, town of Rome, Adams County, Wisconsin, with a parcel number of 030-5137.
I make a motion that we approve the conditional use permit for the short-term rental at 967 Mansfield Court, incorporating the findings of fact.
Second the motion.
Discussion? The only thing I would then, I guess, change would be to make the, it at an indefinite versus a 5-year period that was on the
In the
original.
findings, it's automatically
Oh,
in
okay,
there.
I'm sorry. Then we're good to go.
That doesn't need to be.
It's already in the findings.
Okay, so motion made by Diana, seconded by Paul, to approve the short-term, or conditional use permit for the short-term rental at 967 Mansfield Court, owned by John and Christy Hotz. Any other discussion? Hearing none, then all in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carried. Item number 16, discussion of possible recommendation to the town board. Consideration of a preliminary plat for Sedge Village South to be located on 29.16 acre parcel owned by Sedge Village LLC, described as follows: Lot 26, 27, and 28, Sedge Village. Document number 572728, and part of the northwest 1/4 and the northeast 1/4 of the southwest 1/4 and the northwest 1/4 of the southeast 1/4, all in section 26, town 20 north, range 5 east, town of Rome, Adams County, Wisconsin.
I'll move that we recommend to the town board consideration of a preliminary plat map for Sedge Village South to be located on a 29.16 acre parcel owned by Sedge Village LLC, described as he read.
I like that.
I'll second. Wait. Oh,
There's a findings of fact.
Oh, with the, I apologize. With the findings of fact as stated in, you want me to go into greater detail, Nick?
Oh.
All right, with the findings of fact as stated. You want a second for discussion and add something?
Yes.
Okay.
I'll second with
Okay.
discussion.
Discussion, go ahead.
In the findings of fact, it says, that the subject, it's a proposed development is a mixed use of 10 residential lots situated around a pond, and that's in 3, but I don't see anything with regard to, lot 11, and we are approving that too, right? Or is that necessary to put in the findings?
Not necessarily, but we can say, and at this time undeveloped, or planned undeveloped lot.
That's
I
7,
don't-
because it does talk about the 7 acres, but those other 10 lots are all like a little over a 1. And it's kind of like that lot 11 is dropping off everything, and I don't wanna be confused in the future that we've already, which I'm easily confused, so. I don't know, is that necessary?
Well, that lot certainly will not drop off anything because we have a preliminary plat with 11 lots. We will have a final plat with 11 lots.
Okay.
And this findings of fact will just accompany the documents to the town board. That's really where it starts and stops. I like to do findings of fact really for that reason, but you'll see it again. Town board will see it more times, yeah.
Okay.
Well, and it's not real, I have a question then, because it's not really addressed as part of our maps, our preliminary plat maps, as lot 11. I mean, it's there, but it's not specifically pointed out as a lot specified for building with a number.
Well, they have a site plan.
I understand that, but, okay. I understand
But
where you're.
it seems like it's just always being dropped off, everything, and it's not really, unless you specifically look at that plat. There isn't a lot of reference to this plat. It has 11 lots.
Yeah, I don't know if it's gonna be all.
Do you know what I'm saying?
We-
Doesn't matter.
It's 11 lots, but there's only 10 that will have homes.
Right.
Residential
Correct.
dwellings.
Is the purpose of 11 to be left a natural area, or is that gonna be a possible home site lot?
So the purpose of 11 is to make up the sum difference, because that's the outline of lot 28. So if we were to have just cut it off and not included that 11 area, then there would have been nothing there. So we needed to maintain a lot there to maintain the lots that were previously platted.
So I guess I would include lot 11 on your
So what
preliminary
is the
plat map.
intention with 11 though? Is it to sell as one piece or to subdivide at a later date or?
I'm not sure what the
Okay.
intention is right now. There's different ideas,
Okay,
concepts.
so let's call it an unknown and that's why it kind of.
They would have to come back then if they did anything with it anyway, right, to subdivide it.
Again, we're at a preliminary plan
Plat,
level versus
right.
a final plot
Yeah.
level, and the recital is what confuses us. I understand where you're coming from.
And like I say, I'm easily
Yeah,
confused.
right. It is contradictory.
Okay, and also in the findings of fact 7, C, the applicant has met or is in the process of complying with. From what I've seen, I think we have everything.
Understand that when I draft this and get it to you a week before, that we did not have the updated document that I referenced today.
Okay.
They were in the process of that at that time.
Okay.
And so I'm gonna stand behind my language.
Okay. Can
But
I
we
cross it
adjust-
off?
We can adjust it if you want.
Okay, I'd like to cross it off because we do have everything in our possession that we need.
No, yeah.
All right, those are all my discussion points.
Okay, so which one are we, crossing off?
In the process of complying.
Okay, letter C?
Not the whole thing,
Oh,
just the wording in the process of complying. Okay, that's it.
okay. Motion has been made by Lori, seconded by Diana to approve the recommendation to the town board for the preliminary plat for Sedge Village South, the 29.16 acre parcel owned by Sedge Village LLC, with the language on 7C of the finding of fact, removing the words "the applicant has met or is in the process of complying with."
Are we just removing in the, or is in the process of
Just
complying?
is in the process.
Okay,
Sorry,
that's right.
you got carried away.
With adjusting the words in 7C by removing the words "is in the process of complying with." Any other discussion? Okay, hearing none, then all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. We're getting there, Mark. Discussion and possible recommendation to the town board. Consideration of a site plan of operation for Barnum Bay Beach and Marina LLC for the property located at Archer Lane, also described as Lot 1, CSM 4670, located in Government Lot 2 of Section 28, Town 20 North, Range 5 East, Town of Rome, Adams County, Wisconsin, with a parcel number of 030-408-15. I think that when Mark, the owner of the lure, was last here, we wanted them to update their site plan to indicate several other things, including the septic, the electric, fire rings, water, and according to the map that I see, they've met those conditions that we've put on them.
Yep. Here's the list.
Are we in
Like
discussion,
everything is
Chair?
here.
We don't have a motion yet or anything,
Okay.
so.
Chair, may I have do I have an opportunity to speak to this?
When we, yeah, we'll call upon anybody out there. No, we won't miss you, sir. I'll make a motion to approve the site plan of operation for the, to recommend to the town board consideration of site plan of operation for Barnum Bay Beach and Marina LLC. And is there a second for discussion?
I'll second it.
Second by Bill. Discussion.
Mr. Chair, there is a findings of fact in there.
Okay, and to include the findings of fact on my motion.
I'll agree with that.
Thank you.
Are you stating then with the findings of fact that the future plan commission review requirements and considerations for site plan of operation have all been met as you stated then, Mr. Chair?
In my opinion, they have.
I agree.
I would,
Commissioner.
I would disagree. Because under 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the sixth item, it says, updated stormwater map depicting all relevant locations of stormwater areas and include approvals from Adams County and the DNR. I did not see any approvals, or did I miss something?
I can answer that. So DNR, Adams County, There's a gentleman that we've been dealing with that, for the rain gardens and, DNR. I've been in contact with them back and forth regarding trying to get them to come out. I filled out all the permits, I paid all their fees. Same with the county. The county's going through, a change over there with the gentleman that originally did our first rain gardens that I submitted.
He retired.
Retired. The gentleman that is taking his, well, I don't wanna say taking his position. So they had came out a couple weeks ago, I think we stayed in the last couple meetings. Walked the ground so that the new guy was in the loop of the thing. I've been in contact with him multiple times. He is in contact with, I guess, I can't remember, there's some other lady that's supposed to be doing the drawing. Fortunately, nobody's getting back to me with an updated map of my request. I think a lot of it is just that they're in a little bit of a bind over there, I think, with the last gentleman that retired. But I would suggest or ask the board to, if they move forward with the agreement, obviously, I would say the stipulation, I guess, maybe.
Contingent upon?
Contingent upon, don't offer us a permit until we are able to, I don't wanna say we, it's not nothing that I'm not doing, it's whatever Rome's doing to where they can work out and hire a person that is gonna be taking over the.
You mean Adams County?
Adams County, sorry, Adams County.
Mr. Chair,
Please.
I know one person retired. Did they not also lose another person just recently? So you are down 2 people at Adams County for these types of inspections?
I believe there's only the planning and zoning director and
That's left?
and Kiefer, I think.
Okay.
Is that who you're dealing with, Dan? Kiefer?
I can't remember, I'm sorry.
Okay.
I've talked to so many people with this. I went over DNR, their application was literally on the phone, cause a lot of their questions didn't really seem to pertain to us. But he did the wetlands, surveys, satellite over for us, you know, as I was on the phone with them, and helped me finish the map out and the permit process and application with them. Obviously, we have no wetlands in our area for this particular thing. Like I said, everything's submitted and paid for, it's just a matter of the request for DNR to come out. I guess their biggest issue was, I guess, the butterfly and lizard. But again, everybody's busy. For some reason, I can't get any answers.
But you do have rain gardens on here.
We
but
do have
there's
rain
no
gardens.
wet-
These are the original somewhat drawing, shifted away from the Wisconsin
Power
power
and light lane.
light off their
Okay.
property
So
as,
you've done that,
as
you met that.
requested.
Okay.
So these are the rain garden situations, and it's still as the first map of rain gardens, and it would be, everything would be directed to the rain garden, one way or another.
Okay.
If it's a berm, if it's, a ditch, just unfortunately on our end of things, we're not able to get the information as far as, you're updated as you requested. But it's not from any lack of us, it's people retiring, people wanting to go enjoy life in the pond and the lake somewhere else. But I would ask the board to give us leniency to not submit a permit until, such as the DNR and the other updated stuff that is required.
I mean, we've already, correct me if I'm wrong, we already approved your conditional use permit. You're saying we don't have to give you a building permit until these things are met, then why are we here right now, I guess is my question.
Well, I was just answering your question with your 2 concerns that are out of my hands.
And then I have one
What was
more.
the second concern? I heard one.
The other concern is, I thought that in these discussions, and believe me, we've had a lot of discussions, so correct me if my memory's wrong, but I thought that somewhere this plan commission said that you had a 50-foot setback and that we needed trees planted. I just don't see any trees between the two.
They're in the symbols. as the
But I
lower
don't see anything
landscape
between the
design.
two pink areas.
Cause that is, the two pink areas over here is not a residential or a commercial property. It's,
It's facing the restaurant. and
restaurant,
Parking lot.
the,
It's facing your property. correct?
yes, they're
We were told
facing
by
our
code
property and.
We don't have to be polite to ourselves.
Yeah. So I mean, we've extended actually, we've extended the trees. Original map, we stopped here. The new map, this one, we brought it all the way down to this rain garden. And an extent of another $30,000 in trees.
They put them exactly where they were requested for, and they gave you the symbols you requested.
I think that was Jerry's request. I
It
think
was
mine.
Tom's.
Or yours.
Am I? But until they get a stormwater management plan approved from Adams County, we are looking at two pink symbols on here saying these are. Those may not be adequate. I mean, the Adams County is totally in charge of stormwater management and septic. So we have to know with their calculations if these are going to be adequate, is what I'm saying. Because we have no control over stormwater management in town of Rome.
Correct.
That's
The-
why I
the
believe we can
locations-
prove this based on what he said earlier and what we've talked about, what Chair Baker said earlier. We can approve this, and then based on them getting their stormwater management plan approved, they can't proceed.
Well, did
That's
I
been
hear
done
you
with
say that
other
you weren't
plans.
gonna proceed with anything until such time as you had
Correct.
the DNR approval
Correct.
of
Yes.
Soon as-
stormwaters are worn
As
off?
soon as the DNR can, get out for their butterfly lizard check, and then the other part, is whoever they finally hired to take over the gentleman's position that is retired. So that could be, as the board know, it could be tomorrow, it could be a year from now.
So, we'd love to get this approved for everything except the rain gardens until they finalize what they want. This is what the guy that retired felt was appropriate.
So who
Chuck.
Chuck Sabilski
Zabilski,
Yes.
right.
approved these?
Correct.
So
Yeah, this
this
was
is
his
from
plan.
Adams
This-
County then,
Yeah.
that was
Yeah,
his
Chuck,
plan.
original map, Chuck has
So we
been,
already
even
have
after
that.
retirement, now he's actually
So we
retired,
just need a final okay when somebody's available, is what you're saying?
Correct.
Because Chuck had said he was hoping that this would get approved so he could sign off on it before he actually retired.
Yeah.
And then,
And now they lost another person,
Yeah.
so now you're
Correct.
just waiting in line until they can get an approval to.
Chuck personally promised me he wasn't gonna retire until before, at least when summer started. But Chuck also gave me, personally, told me that because of the layout of this campground and because of the rock and so forth, and then the Power and Light, River, I always forget their name, requirements not to be on the property, he was giving us leniency. He was gonna allow us to get everything open, get the RV pads, everything laid out, then he was gonna come in and he knew there was gonna be adjustments to it because of the property lines. But again,
and he
now
also,
he's gone.
he said he wasn't worried about drainage because it's all sand.
Yeah.
So he said this is really just to make whoever stamps it happy because he's not worried about any runoff or water. But
Now
he
you
felt
have
this
an
would be more
approved
than-
pout system here, that's
Correct.
Garrison's.
Garrison's.
Okay. Mr. Chair, were you gonna allow the
Yes, I am.
people?
Mm-hmm.
Because I wanted to hear.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sir?
My name is Bill Mashmeyer, and I live with my wife Nancy at 1711 Archer Lane. So we're one of the closer, we're in Unit 16, one of the closer units in the area.
Can you just sign that piece of paper for us, sir?
Sure
With
can.
your name and address, so we have it for the record. Thank you.
as it relates to the water and the sewer and such, I would state to the board that the general map that was initially done that had these two rain gardens or dry ponds or whatever they are, you'll now see this on the next page on 119 is the map of the that has changed from our on-water treatment system in the first map to now we have 4 septic tanks and 4 septic fields. One of those 4 septic fields sits in the southwest corner of the property, which is right about where the rainwater drain, this rain garden sits. I don't know how we can review and approve a plan if we can't see the way the water is flowing and how the septic works in conjunction with the groundwater. We're all on wells, we're all on septics, and so we're of course concerned about the safety of our septics, and I'm sure that DNR can develop a plan and overlay it here that is safe to the groundwater, to the lake, and to our septics, or I mean to our wells. I just don't see it here, and I'd like to see it because this keeps changing all the time. The other concern I have, which I don't know a lot about septic, so I can't speak very much about that, but I know a lot about trees. And I'm concerned about this screening. The only way you can do appropriate screening between the condos and the campsite is to stagger pine trees. The advantage of pine trees is they block sight, they block light from these 10-foot pole lights that are going to be on at night, and we have a very dark subdivision that really doesn't have any lighting at night. So grown pine trees that are staggered are not overly cost prohibitive, and they will block sound, they will block sight lines, they will block the light overflow. They'll also discourage trespass. So, you know, we do have a pool, it's fenced, it's locked, but we do worry about kids trespassing over and climbing that. So those are the concerns I have. Now, the board correctly asked, can you please give me a legend that talks what this landscaping is going to be? In my mind, I pictured a commitment that would say, I'm going to plant white pines, I'm going to plant them 25 feet apart on center. I'm going to have another row that's 25 feet behind them on center. They're initially going to be 6 feet tall. They're projected to grow to this size, and they're going to screen it. And not only will I plant it and let it die, I'll maintain it. So that's really the kind of commitment we're asking from the owner, or requirement we're asking from the board, which will solve many issues. And then the other, it was mentioned at the last meeting, someone said, well, we really need some kind of a water flow plan just to see how all this works together. I still think that's the best way to do it. I think if you approve it and you defer it all over to the DNR, you're deferring your authority, your right to make the final decision, your right to weigh in and talk to DNR. Why did you do it this way? Is there another way that we could do it? So only you know what you had in mind when you asked for details on landscaping and on water flow. And I defer to you about those things. But those are what my concerns are as a neighbor and homeowner. And I want to be a good neighbor. I want them to have a successful business. I don't want those people who are camping and having a great time to look over and see all these houses and us flopping around in the pool when it's 90 degrees out and they wish they were over there. And I don't want to be looking over there at those RVs, and I don't want that light bleeding over on me at night, and I don't want to have to worry about and test my wells.
Thank you. There was another gentleman back there that raised his hand. Yes, sir?
Yeah, just wanted to add,
Your name and your address?
Bordeaux, 537 Barnum Bay Trail. Just want to add, as I came from the Land and Water Adams County meeting, there are 2 gentlemen in that office, and they know they are short engineering technician, and they're gonna hire somebody, but in the interim, they are working with DadCap engineer to fill this void.
Okay.
So they are moving forward on that. What timing, I have no idea, but just wanted to let you know that that's what Adams County is doing.
Thank you, appreciate that. Okay, there's a motion on the floor and a second to approve the site plan of operation for the Barnum Bay Beach and LLC for the property located in Archer Lane. Further discussion?
Yeah. Do you have a total count of the number of trees that are going in? It's really hard to count them on the map here, and then
There's 100.
there's a ledger here. Do you know about how many of those? A deciduous versus it's 50-50, 70-30, just,
Yeah, I mean, based on the requirements in the town code, we didn't go into detail on the map, but yeah, they have to be the 2 layers, you know, staggered apart. And
Everything's-
there's only certain types of evergreen.
so there's about 100 trees. How many?
There's 100 trees.
How many are pine trees versus deciduous?
Almost all evergreen, I believe.
Because we're trying to make it to where, for one, they don't want, at one side, they say they don't want pine trees and they're worried about, or they don't want pine needles, they're worried about a local fire ripping through the thing, but then they stand up here and ask that we get pine trees. So we went another route to where that it's more, you know, I think more cleaner, less of a issue, less of a fire burden. You know, we've been reaching out to multiple different tree companies to get 6-foot trees. I mean,
it's really hard to get 6 foot at planting
Yeah.
trees, which is what you guys asked, which is above code.
most are 4 or 5 feet.
Yeah.
So to define, we found a 6-foot company, and they're 6 hours away from us that can accommodate 100 trees.
We could
You
put a
know.
lot more trees in if we were gonna do 4 foot.
You know.
That was our original plan.
I wanna ask a question. You're gonna leave some of the tall trees that are in there, correct?
Oh, we're trying to leave everything we can.
Right, right. The other option would be you cut them all down and put just 6-foot trees in, and it'll look even more naked than
Yeah.
if you left some of them in,
Yeah.
correct?
Yeah, anything that's in the setback, we're planning on leaving most of that
Right,
there.
Yeah.
so, I mean, I think we're getting to the point now, we approved the conditional use permit. They've met all of the conditions we asked them to, they came back with a key. They have a system now, a POUT system that Garrison came in and said would work for the number of
Correct.
camping sites that we said and limited that they should. They came back with trees that are on this that we told them to. So, and the lighting, I do understand the gentleman's concern
Well,
about
we
10-foot
didn't
light,
have a
but-
big lighting plan in the last
No, you
meeting, but
didn't, and let me
someone
just-
from the neighbors wanted the lights to make sure that everybody could be seen, and now they're saying they don't want light.
Well, no, I just wanna address lights
So-
though, they're really, the way I'm looking at this though, there aren't really that many.
We got one at the entryway.
And one at the other end.
Parking lot.
And one at the other end,
And
they're
then, of
10
course, the building will have their normal lights that are required at any
And
building.
they're on the inside, so people do need to find their way in there, so they're not driving in, and there's one at the other end.
Correct.
And if we make it conditional, which the motion, I mean, we can add that to our findings of fact, that the sanitary has to be completed.
Correct.
And followed through on by the DNR as required.
Correct.
Which is what Adams County does do, they can't move forward unless that's completed. I mean, we'd be going against Act 67, I mean, so I think they've done everything in support of what they need to do with the conditional use permit that this commission, the plan commission allowed them. So, I would call the question, Mr. Chair, and ask for a roll call vote.
Okay.
Thank you all.
So the motion's been made by me, seconded by Bill, to approve the site plan of operation or recommend it to the town board. Question's been called. Do I have to take a motion on the question to end?
It's your choice, but can I just ask one question?
Sure.
Because you had said you're adopting the findings of fact as presented. Now there's been a mention of a possible additional condition. So just to note that your motion actually was to make the recommendation to the
Okay.
town board and adopt the findings of fact as presented. If you're now deciding to adjust the findings of fact,
That has to be stated in the motion.
you'll wanna state that in the motion and what that condition is.
So that condition was that they cannot move forward with developing the campground until such time as the stormwater runoff is completed to the DNR specifications,
And approved by Adams County.
okay? And approved by Adams County,
I'll agree to amend my second.
okay? Is there any further discussion then on the amended language? Okay, I can't remember, do I have to take a motion on the calling the question?
So it's your choice, you can either end discussion and move to your roll call vote if you choose to do that.
Okay.
But somebody has called for a roll call vote, so you will.
I understand that. Okay, then we'll move to a roll call vote, starting on my left. Bill?
Capel, yes.
Lori?
Chmati, yes.
Dilgy, yes.
Baker, yes?
Juranzak, yes.
Gabriel, no.
Okay. So the motion is approved with Tom Gabriel dissenting. Okay, the next section is date and times for future agenda meetings. Item number 18 is next agenda items. I know that Tom has something he would like to bring forward.
I'd like to have a discussion only on the Rome Town Center and some things that are going on in the Rome Town Center.
As far as not following up on things
Yeah,
that
something
were.
more specific.
I just
Go
wanna make
ahead.
sure that I'm noticing it correctly.
How about we discuss the ordinance violations in the Rome Town Center?
People failing to complete what they were, what they proposed, or what their site plan or calls for, whatever, like landscaping plans.
Changing site plans, not finishing site plans.
Is this specific to one parcel, or is this just?
No, it's not,
So
it's
I-
not specific to one parcel.
So then, just so I understand, in case,
general
in case I'm
discussion.
still kind of in this interim role, providing you all packet information, what is the expectation that you're going to have before the meeting to review, to have this discussion?
To review and to have this discussion?
Right,
To review, I think we just need to drive, all of us should drive through the Rome Town Center, and then we can have a discussion.
Okay, so nothing expected in the packet for that?
Nothing expected in the packet. I will supply supporting documents.
You will?
And
I
we
will at the
tell
meeting.
People that have already received letters and are trying to comply are involved in different stages of compliance.
Well, then,
How do you
then-
plan to address that?
I guess if there's something that's happening that I'm not seeing, then we can have a discussion and fill me in, and maybe we won't need to discuss it.
I see.
But what I'm seeing in there right now, I think there needs to be a discussion.
Just a few other ones, just so everybody's kind of aware of them coming. I believe we have a short-term rental application. We'll have the final plat for said south, and then we will likely have a preliminary plat as well on our next agenda. Actually, we will have a preliminary plat on our next agenda.
From,
Do you know which portion
from Sedge?
for the
It'll be called
preliminary?
Sedge North.
Okay,
Oh.
all right.
And so I think you'll start to see
The
pieces
whole
of this,
picture?
yeah, coming
Okay.
together.
All right.
I didn't wanna spoil the surprise, but you will see it come together, as you see some of the next
We'll figure
preliminary
out what
plat.
lot 11's for.
Is it necessary for us to have some type of election to fill this position? Or can somebody just be appointed by, or volunteer to take the position?
Town chairperson, appoints the chair, actually, of the plan commission, and so that will, we're going to have, you know, filling committees, commissions is
On the
likely-
next town board agenda, and that's according to state statute and village powers.
So,
So you'll fill the committee assignments
As well as the chair
and the
position.
chair? Okay, that's fine, that's all I need.
You're off the hook, Mike.
I believe the next chair will probably be calling you continuously.
That's fine, I'll be glad to
Yeah,
help you
what
out,
the
whatever I
heck?
can do.
Don't answer the phone,
Yeah.
Mike.
You know, there'll be an open seat, you could just move
That's
over
okay.
one.
That's okay. Anything else that, anybody needs to see on the next agenda? Okay, then item 19 is the next meeting date and time will be May 14th, 2024, 4 o'clock PM, right back here. And then I will declare the meeting adjourned at 6:23 PM.
And thank you for your service.
Thank you.
Great job.
I think I need